Hello everybody and welcome to another Vintage Fans and More product spotlight brought to you by Quorum International. Today we're taking a look at Quorum's first pull chain controlled DC motor fan, the Gamble. This is also the first appearance of such a product on my channel. The launch of this new technology industry-wide is perhaps the quietest introduction of new product that I've ever seen. Leading up to Lightovation last January, I had seen no indication that DC pull chain was coming, and it took 2 full days of being there before I discovered that this introduction from Quorum had the technology implemented. From there I started paying attention and noted that many manufacturers were introducing select models with this technology, yet still I heard very little about it aside from the select information I'd gathered at Quorum. Most of the discussion and buzz has been within the fan enthusiast community in the months following, but now I'm here to really dive into the topic and show you the beginning stages of this industry's next evolution. Sometimes these introductions are a little bit polarizing. There can be a lot of growing pains with new technologies like this, so I do understand the logical side of quietly sliding these products into existence. I'm excited to partner with Quorum to present this development because they offer such a balance of quality and value within their core product line, and now they also offer the latest in energy efficiency within the same type of product. Let's get started with the technical information. Gamble is a 60-inch indoor-only fan available in 3 motor finishes: satin nickel, oiled bronze, or noir with aged brass, as I'm showing today. Each motor includes a reversible blade set with a signature weathered wood on one side and a finish that corresponds to the motor, silver, bronze, or matte black respectively, on the other. Of course, the main feature here is that the fan is controlled by a pull chain, which offers 4 speeds. Reverse is controlled by the manual switch mounted on the fan. Inside is a 125 by 30 millimeter DC motor, which is actually a physically small format compared to an AC motor, but of course DC motors achieve much more in a smaller size. This motor, combined with a 13.5 degree blade pitch, produces a reported 5,878 cubic feet of air per minute at high speed. If you're following the new Energy Guide standard of average airflow, the listing on the box is 4,234 cubic feet of air per minute. This range of published numbers is a little bit odd because the Energy Guide number specifically printed on the box is pretty good in the scope of similar products, but the high speed number published in the catalog does rank on the lower end for fans in the 60-inch size range. In any case, there are a few things at play here. Because this motor and control setup are so new and the systems will likely undergo changes and better optimization in the future, it's not something I want to pick apart too much on the first product. I have noticed that a lot of the comparable similar size DC pull chain products on the market have been achieving similar performance numbers, so this seems to be pretty typical for now. To that point, I looked further into the Department of Energy regulations on ceiling fans that have been going into effect and found that a slight reduction in maximum airflow exponentially increases the DOE efficiency standard. As stated in this article, for a given diameter, slowing down a fan reduces input power and airflow, but input power is reduced more significantly than airflow. Consequently, at lower speeds, a fan would have a higher efficacy in terms of the DOE metric. This makes slowing a fan the simplest way to achieve a high efficacy at an equal or lower efficiency, which probably explains these exact products because they are the physical next step towards future compliance. To be clear, these are not 1-to-1 ratio tweaks that are meant to game or cheat the system. There is a scale curve associated with the airflow achieved and the power consumption required to achieve it. A very slight speed or airflow reduction equates to a much greater reduction in energy consumption. These changes help products fall within optimal efficiency set by the DOE, but they also fault already efficient fans that also provide great airflow. There are new standards being looked at to address this inherent penalty on high efficiency, high airflow fans, but as I understand it, these products would have been developed with the current DOE outline in mind, as no concrete changes have been put into motion. I'll cover some of my own thoughts on the Gamble's performance without all the regulatory jargon later in the video, but I felt it important to present this information to understand the exact parameters that these fans aim to comply with. We're talking highest efficiency standard as top priority, and other factors like speed and airflow fall in behind. To me, this seems a little bit backwards for a product that's supposed to move air, so I'm hoping we'll be seeing some new regulations that will address what I see as a big issue. Because this technology is so new, there aren't really any accessories yet from Quorum in regards to wall controls or remote kits. For now, the Gamble is best suited to a space where you'll use the pull chain to control the speeds. Standard accessory light kits can be added to this fan and also controlled by their own integrated pull chain. The fan and lights may be wired for control by separate on-off switches at the wall, and a dimmer could be installed for the lights in that way, but there is no motor speed control option for that application. Assuredly, we'll see those options become available as the use and implementation of this system expands. As with most Quorum fans, 4-inch and 6-inch downrods are included in the box for optimal mounting height on most ceilings 8 to 10 feet, and extension downrods are available for use with higher ceilings. I've set the fan to low speed so you can see it in motion while I cover some more information and my favorite design details about this model. If you want to see all the ins and outs of how the DC pull chain motor starts up and reverses, be sure to keep an eye out for my regular demonstration video, which will be coming out in a few days. After getting to know DC technology for the last decade, it is initially odd to see it paired with a pull chain. The one drawback that I do find is that it's a bit confusing for operation because the fan takes a moment to adjust to any changes. For the average consumer, there will be a learning curve with this because the response is not immediately visible. For another new DC technology, I'm overall impressed with this low speed. It's not too fast, and while I would appreciate slower, I'm going to take this as a win because it did take a decade to develop decent low speeds with other DC systems. Airflow is right on with what I'd expect to see. It's soft but definitely present. Design-wise, this fan falls in with a lot of Quorum's new traditional to transitional offerings. What sets it apart is the scale of the size and Quorum's ever-relevant finish choices that make it super appealing to the current market. Implementing the gray tone weathered blade finish on every motor was a bold move, and while it may not work for everyone, that's precisely why the blade is reversible to a more subdued monochromatic look. I think it was the right choice rather than offering niche wood stains specific to each motor, which only catered to limited audiences anyway. While unique and decidedly distressed, it is a very neutral base color that can shift to pick up tones in more spaces than you'd expect. Quorum has been doing a lot with mixing metals on their lighting, and I've been excited to see it crossing over into the fans as well. I was drawn in by this brass and noir combination. It's so classic, but also feels simplistically fresh. I've been obsessed with all things brass this year, going completely overboard on the products with brass that I've brought in and loving every minute of it. Gamble puts it forward in a much more subdued way with just a simple plate of brass against an all-black backdrop. It's a very elegant fan, which the size only complements. A lot of fans in this size range are now designed to have a very minimal presence, but I think this fan has a very grand feel. It's a perfect transitional design that brings in a lot of that new traditional influence. We've been seeing a new era of more casual traditional coming back around in lighting and ceiling fans. These looks work well in a variety of spaces and decors, while also allowing the finish selection to be an equal feature of the design. I've moved up to high speed, and despite what we covered earlier with CFM and high speed being a bit slower, the airflow I feel is good. Lately, I've been pointing out that there are different types of airflow that specific designs produce, and CFM doesn't really account for that. With that aspect additionally considered, I am not disappointed in what this fan achieves. It's maybe not the best airflow you can get with a 60-inch fan, but if that's what I wanted to show you, I would have brought in a different product. I think as a full package, the Gamble is a really good first impression of where DC technology is heading next. Again, I'm not prepared to make final overarching thoughts based on the first product I work with, or even Quorum's example specifically, since most of these products are currently very similar and are all working under the current DOE standards. I'm excited to see the future developments and hopefully those changing standards that would allow fans like this to really shine. While the performance may evolve, something that doesn't change is Quorum's excellent execution of build quality. I've worked with a couple very high-end Quorum fans now, and also one that was on the more budget-friendly end. The Gamble is my first real venture into the mid-range core of the product line, and so far I'm very impressed. Quorum's fan line is one of the most comprehensive available, and with this fan as an example, I can truly state how much remains consistent from top to bottom. Their finishes across the product line are stunning, always making the trends accessible with an upscale feel and flawless appearance. Such attention to detail and immaculate quality control are things that I always remember about the products that I work with and take into strong consideration when recommending a product. Stamped steel is very much today's industry standard for decorative components, but not all products are created equally. Quorum's metals always feel sturdy and rigid, and I have yet to see a factory defect or deformation. Select cast components like the blade arms always have ample interior structure, so they won't sag over time. I'm always looking for the quality details that, in most cases, wouldn't be noticed unless they're executed poorly. Quorum doesn't execute poorly. They consistently deliver a nice product at any price point, which the Gamble falls right in line with, while delivering its own unique features. Now it's time for me to send you off to enjoy some closer details of the Gamble fan, and I'll be back to close out the video. Quorum's first DC pull chain fan shows a lot of promise for this technology in the years to come. I love the design of the Gamble for its new traditional feel, and I particularly love this signature Quorum combination of noir and aged brass. If you're not picky about control and want a fan with great presence and mass appeal, Gamble is a super efficient choice to consider. I want to thank Quorum International for their continued partnership and for being here a third consecutive year. They also allowed for me to use 2 of their fans as giveaway prizes in my 10,000 subscriber giveaway this past summer, so I cannot thank them enough for their support just this year alone. Be sure to follow Quorum International everywhere on social media. They've started doing some new product feature videos that I absolutely love, and of course they're always posting up some of the most gorgeous product photos. You can find their links as well as my own in the description below. Subscribe and ring the notification bell before you leave to get updates for all of my new videos. I'll have more new products coming soon. Thank you all for watching today, and I will see you next time. Click left to watch another Quorum product, or click right for my entire playlist featuring Quorum International and Oxygen lighting.